Folks, today an introduction of the H&B Kart. If you buy a 3D print H&B Kart, I will fill you in what's in the kit, what isn't in the kit, and the way you build it. This is in the kit. Front wing, copper axle, bushings, rims, the chassis, already glued in the lip for the holder of the shoe, the axle holder, and already glued on with the bushings, the back stopper, the radiator, the motor mount, steering wheel, the motor, and of course the exhaust, and the driving figure. And for the whole package it's €25. Now, what's not in the kit? The kit is €25. You need a motor. I use an SRP motor, €6, 6, 7. An axle, 3mm, 70 wide. Front tires, now the pinion, 12 teeth of Slotting Plus. The gear is from Scale Auto with the number on it, 39 teeth. No, it's not 39 teeth, 63 teeth, but 90 mils. A pickup shoe from Scale Auto. Some braids, some wiring, and some screws, top screws. And you need some glue, a small 2mm drill, and of course some screwdrivers. The first prototypes I made it with angle winders, but it's always fiddling with to get the right position of the pitch. So now it's almost a side winder. Yeah, so all the chassis are made now for side winders. And you start with putting in your motor, like this. So to start with, you take off this piece because it's going to be interfering with your wheel. So I always do a little bit of oil on that side and on that side to that the warmth when you cut it off is not interfering with the internals. So let's take a piece off. 3 screws. The motor mount has 3 screws with nuts already provided. So let's mount it on the chassis. At first you're gonna screw in the motor mount on the motor. Let's see, it's a snug fit. Place it on the table. Place it on the table so you know your motor is mounted correctly and flat. And it is. Now we're getting to the fiddling part. Here you see the space already made, and here is a hole. And you have to adjust it like this. So take one of the screws, and now the fiddling part, and you need some tweezers or something like that to get the nut on it securely. That will take some time and fiddling. Oh, that was my lucky day. It was 50 seconds. But so you can play with it now, and don't overdo it now with the nut. So you have some play to see how the axle is doing. As I told you, you have to buy the axle and you have to buy the gear. It's already lined up. Take the pinion, put the pinion on. You can do this nylon pins with your hand. You don't need something fancy about it. And you're lined up for a perfect pitch. And when you're feeling that it's okay, then tighten up the nut. So now we have a nice fit. But then, here isn't the hole. Why isn't there a hole? So you can do the last nut on it. If you change the diameter from 19 until 20 or 21, that location will be different. So you have to drill your own hole in the chassis. Quite simple. I take also a drill, a Dremel, to do a little bit of countersinking over here, so the screw is fitting in nicer, and so the whole motor mount is secured that way, on two ways, over here, and the motor is not go anywhere, and you have still your nice pitch. So that is also the most difficult part of the whole thing. Then we have the radiator. Take the screw out. Put them in the correct position over here. And there is also a hole over there. And you're done. Of course, you can paint it, etc., etc. The next step is the guide blade. As you can see, it's not a snug fit. Because I don't know what sort of pickup shoe you're going to use, I printed it very narrow. But if you want a bigger hole, of course, you can file them down to the way you want it to. So, because this is too tight, but it's for an example. Then, I also included this nut with plastic thread on it. The lip is already glued in, and here you have the space you needed. Then you take your braids, of course, and then you have to do your wiring and take care of the left and right side, and if your power, if this is the same on your track, but that's obvious. So now I do some screws. I do some big ones over here. I've already did some countersinking in this part, so the holes are okay, but when it's too tight, go back and front, otherwise it's PLA, it's gonna break. So be gentle with it. Take the copper front axle, and let's say this is a perfect adjustment, so you did also the hub screws underneath it. Take your rims and your tires who are laying around, all tires, it doesn't matter, they will fit, most of the tires will fit. Take your PLA washers and put your tires on, your rims on to the max. So you have a little bit of play in it. And I just and then glue with second glue, 3-second glue, and glue the rims on the copper wire, so they will stay there as long as you need it. I don't have any problems with it, so glue them on. Yes. So the nut is on. The shoe is on, the tires are on, they're glued, the motor is on, and then you can put on your not included wheels, back wheels, tires and rim, and it is a perfect pitch. Now it's time to do the back stopper. It's flexible, so it won't break. It's included with 2 screws. There's a little hole in the middle, so you can do it exactly in the middle. And screw it in. So it's on with the 2 screws. Won't come off. Then the rear or the front wing, I call it a wing or shield, also included with the 2 screws. Back side, front side, and screw them in. Don't do it, overdo it, give it always some play on the screws, so when you hit the front it won't break easily. So give it some play. That's the best way to do it. The driving figure, the wheel you can glue on, but you also can make with a Dremel some incisions in his hand so that you get an easy fix over there. There is also a screw on the bottom. It's the same for the driving figure. Don't overdo it. Give it a little bit of play. Otherwise your pressure is on the chassis and the chassis will bend a little bit. Over here there is an incision made by his leg so that the axle, front axle, will run without any friction on his position of the kart figure. The last thing you have to do is mount the motor. I made it a hole over here, but that's not for use because you can put it anywhere you want, because you have to glue them on. So take the glue a little bit over here, and then you're gonna look at the position of the exhaust, and I think it's something like this. Glue it on, and then later on you can glue the exhaust on the kart, and you're ready to roll and to drive it. So have fun.